Hello there. Today's video title is What Grandpa Brought Back. So, my grandpa, shirt's getting a little tight here. My grandpa, he died when I was, I think like 3 or 4. So I don't have a lot of memories of him. And so that was around 1992-ish, I think. And here's a picture of him. And that's me over there playing the harmonica together. And I'm told, though, he was hardcore into history, which I also enjoy history. And he had been in the Army in World War II and had some involvement with the Battle of the Bulge. And at some point or another, through his service, he went through a concentration camp and didn't like to talk about it at all, like the whole war or anything like that. So my grandmother passed away, though, in 2006, and my aunts and my mom were cleaning out his house, and or their house, and they called me up and they said, "Hey, we found a pistol. We'd like you to just come over and make sure it's not loaded." So I said, "Oh, sure, that's fine." So I went over and checked it out, and they said it's in that shoebox over there. And so I opened up the shoebox, and I saw this, and I knew right away what it was. It's like, that's a Luger. And sure enough, I don't think anyone really knew that he had it, although no one besides me and that family is that big of a gun person. And yeah, I opened it up and pulled it out, and it was a Luger that I think he brought back from the war. I really don't know any story behind it, other than I'm not a big Luger collector, although I think they're well made. But yeah, this is something he brought back. It had spent, you figure he died in 1992. My grandmother wasn't that big into guns, and it spent a lot of time in this holster, which you should never store a gun in the holster. And so it has a little bit of rust on it that I took off, just with basically just neutralizing it with oil, and hit it with a brass brush, and then just wipe that off. Nothing, you don't want to ruin the finish or anything like that, but just to stop the rust. So you can see little specks right here. But anyway, pretty cool pistol. I have absolutely no idea how he got it or anything like that. I wish this gun could talk, because it was made in 1914 and by DWM, and so it's probably saw service in World War One, and then moved on to World War Two. And I've shot it a couple times. I don't shoot it a lot because, I'm not a big Luger person, so feel free to dispute what I say at some point in the comments section. But to my understanding, if you pull this apart, it's like a tuning fork with the receiver and the barrel section there, the top receiver, I guess you want to say. And to my understanding, over time, that can crack from use. We're talking about a lot of use, but that is a thing that it will do. So I treat this gun pretty nicely. And I will say this too, it is just, I went to gunsmith school, so I don't practice that, but I had some opportunities to learn some things and see some projects and do some guns and whatnot and that. And this gun is just phenomenally fitted for the time period that it was made. This took a lot of hand fitting. Just the machines are not what weren't back then what they are today. And I've got the modern American-made P210 handgun, which is a very finely fitted, all machine-made handgun, and that cuts out a lot of labor costs. But that something like this back in the day, it can only done through hand fitting. And so pretty cool little piece of equipment. I think there's plenty of other videos probably out there on the Luger, so I won't bore anyone. I did look a little bit up about this holster, and to my understanding, based on the marking, it was made in 1915, and I don't know. It had only one magazine in it, so I'm not sure what happened to the other magazine. One thing that's kind of interesting that always puzzled me was these holsters fit very, very tight. And it was like, well, how, you figure you're wearing it on your belt over here, and it's like, how do you get to that quickly? It had a tight fitting holster because of Luger's, tightly tolerance, and, they didn't want dust and whatnot, or dirt rather, in there. And it's actually a pretty simple solution. I'm not going to do it violently because this is old leather, but there's a little tab here that actually, as you pull it, maybe I won't pull it because it's pretty dry. Oh, you can kind of see, I'm not going to do it all the way, but you can see there's some leather in here. I don't know if I can get this on camera or not. There's some leather in here, and what you do is you pull this tab and it comes out all the way, and it rises the pistol up, basically. So this is a cool little feature that on the holsters, you always see them, they're real tightly fitted, and I always, in my head, was like, man, if you had to get to that quick, how would you do that? So that's how you would do that. What else here? I think that's kind of it. I'm not sure, but I think maybe this magazine thing, I can't remember if this holds a cleaning rod some way or another or not. I feel like it did, but I don't see a slot for it. So, anyway, yeah, cool little holster. Which brings me to this. So I wanted to learn more about it, and admittedly, I haven't dove deep into these books, although I did. I did read a little bit about the holster a couple of years ago when I got them. But of course, now I can't really remember very much. But this is a great set of books. It is the Borchardt and Luger Automatic Pistols by Joachim Gortz and Dr. Jeffrey Sturgis. I think you can find this at Simpson, if I remember right. They're the ones who sell it. Simpson Limited or something like that. And interesting story about these books. They're heavy. They're 3 volumes. And they are pretty good, solid books. But originally this dude who wrote this went with collector grade publications, and apparently he did not like some of the edits that they did, and so I guess he didn't have an agreement with them, or it was a limited time or something, but he decided to go ahead and find someone else who would publish the books the way he wanted to. And so this is like the second set of Luger books that he was in on, and these are that's kind of the way he wanted it. And it came with this DVD, which is awesome. Just a great DVD. One of the guys, I think it's the doctor fellow, Dr. Jeffrey Sturgis. It shows his collection in here, and it's basically him talking about Lugers. And he's sitting in a room that is just wall of Lugers, and he has all these developments that were before the Luger, and he actually shoots them. I mean, just for this video was honestly just worth the price of the books alone, because the video comes with the books. So if you're into Lugers, this is definitely a good piece of kit to get. It tells you everything. I don't think you're gonna find a more thorough examination, because this is written by people who just were into Lugers to no end, and it's just good, solid reference thing. So that's all I got. Like I said, I'm not going to go into detail much on the Luger, because one, I can't really say. I've read little bits of these books. Someday I probably will try to read all of them, just for my knowledge. It's an interesting book set. But yeah, not going to go into much detail. I think there's plenty of other information out there, but I figured I'd just show off this old standard Luger here. And it's Memorial Day in 2023, and thanks to all our veterans who served and sacrificed.